Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. This is the NUS Computing e-Open House for 2021. My name is Dr. Anand Ramchan. I'm a senior lecturer here at the School of Computing with the Department of Information Systems and Analytics. And in this session today, we've invited one of our alumni from our Information Systems program to talk a little bit about his experience here at NUS. Before we begin, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping and tell you a little bit about the program for today. So let's bring up the program slides if we can. Now this is our second last live event for the day. It's 3 p.m. We're going to do a career talk right now with our guest Ashraf, and after that we're going to have an Ask Me Anything session with me about our school's programs. If at any point of time you weren't able to attend the sessions earlier today, you can always find them on our social media channels. They're recorded and available there already. And those channels would be on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And so you can always log in, and if you have any questions, you can start posting them now, and we'll try to answer them as we go along. Now you can also talk to us directly. We have alumni, we have staff members, we have our students, all here to help answer your questions on Discord. If you want, you can talk to us and ask questions directly to them on Discord up to 6 p.m. today. And then from tomorrow through Saturday, you can find us on Telegram. After that, you can always find us on our websites, where you'll be able to find more information and email addresses to contact us. Now, as part of our event for today, we also have a game that's going on called Break the Hack. And if you manage to scan all 8 QR codes today on our website and during our presentations, you stand a chance to win some really exciting prizes. So to find out more information, visit the URL join.com.nus.edu.sg and participate in the game. And finally, like I said, if you need more information about the admissions process, about our computing programs, check out our websites or feel free to drop us an email or connect with us live on Discord, on social media, or on Telegram from tomorrow. And we'll try to answer your questions as best as we can. So let me introduce our alumni who's spent some time to come on board today to talk to you a little bit about his experience at NUS Computing. This is Ashraf Kamsani. Ashraf was actually in our Information Systems program and graduated in 2016. Ashraf.
Thanks, Anand, for having me today. So for those of you joining in, very good afternoon to you. My name is Ashraf, Information Systems graduate, class of 2016 from the National University of Singapore, NUS. Currently, I'm a business program manager at Microsoft. Right, so I've prepared some slides for you. And today, I will be talking a little bit about myself, what I did before university, and some of my career highlights, the modules that I enjoyed in information systems, and then what I did to live up to my motto of doing what you like. So that's the primary message that I'll be driving today, doing what you like. Right, so about me, I am a neighborhood school student. I graduated from a business diploma. I came into computing with zero programming knowledge, zero background in computing, but that's okay, because the curriculum here is designed in such a way where they prepare you, they assume you have no knowledge, and they prepare you for what's to come. So it's okay, right? I'm not good in math, but it's fine, right? So I learned to find out what I like and what I'm good in, and that's what I enjoyed in NUS, IS especially, right? So I graduated with a business diploma, right? And usually, if you graduate with a business diploma, you want to do a business degree. I wanted to have a multidisciplinary education for myself, and I decided to take IT because that's my interest. I wanted to do IT, right? So I spent 2 years in national service, got a little bit worried because 2 years of not studying, but again, the message is reinforced that the curriculum is designed in such a way where they prepare you and they assume you have no knowledge. So it's okay to feel a bit worried, but you don't have to worry too much. Just enjoy your time. For those who are joining the national service or leaving soon, it's okay to, just focus on your time during NS and have a good time in NUS. So this is a summary of my career. Right, information systems is about the study of IT and using IT to solve business problems. So in these three roles, I use IT to solve business problems. Right, as you can see over here, I was in Accenture. Accenture is one of the top technology consulting firms in the world. So I did a project based in Singapore, and then I moved on to Twitter, as you already know, social media platform for APAC-based role. And then I moved on to Microsoft, where it's a role where my stakeholders are based in Asia. So as you can see, the curriculum prepares you in such a way where you are flexible. You can move around within roles and still solve business problems with IT. So I'm going to...
How long were you in each role, Ashraf?
Say again?
How long were you in each company?
All right. So I was with Accenture for close to 2.5, 3 years.
Okay.
Twitter for a year. And now on Microsoft, I'm hitting my 1 year anniversary as well. So
Nice.
good times. Yeah. So in Accenture, so Accenture's vision is to deliver high performance, and that's what attracted me as a fresh graduate. I wanted to do my best, give my best for my client, right? As you can see over here, that's my mentor in Accenture, Kok Boon. He's a managing director at Accenture. He's also a NUS alumni as well, so it helps being in NUS. You're able to connect with your the senior stakeholders in the company, right? In Accenture, we develop a document management system. My team develop a document management system like Dropbox to facilitate the exchange of information in the trade industry. So it facilitates trade information from business to business and business to government. So this is very important and crucial to our economy because this information has to be exchanged in a timely, accurate, and cost-effective manner, right? And at this day and time, right, where speed is key and the accuracy of the data is important. So it was really a good time in Accenture as a business analyst, where I get to understand our clients and help solve their problems.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting, yeah. And then I moved on to Twitter. So this was so exciting for me, and maybe to some of you who are online watching this, right? So Twitter is a social media company, very young, exciting. The people, the team members are for a younger age in general. And in Twitter, what I do is I was looking after the revenue products. So in Twitter, we have the Twitter advertisements, Twitter ads. We help our advertisers achieve their marketing goal through technical support. And in order to provide a high level of technical support, you need to be technically inclined. And the education in information systems helped me to be good at what I do in Twitter because I can understand what's needed of me and deliver this to the client. So it was a really fun time because you get to see the things that you do live on the Twitter timeline. And more importantly, I think the culture is a bit different as compared to a consulting company. Twitter is more of young, like Facebook and Google. It's really fun times and a lot of food as well. So I like that. And as I've said earlier, we should be focusing on doing what you like, and that's what I like. So I spend my time in Twitter.
Good. All right.
So, and then I moved on to Microsoft for a role that oversees the projects, the execution of projects in Asia. So in Asia time zone, right? So my team in Microsoft, what they do is they evolve the customer experience through the enablement of key roles in the customer success unit. So allow me to explain a bit about the customer success unit. So the customer success unit in Microsoft, we help our customers achieve their digital transformation, and we help them to drive change, consumption, and adoption activities through their business and IT stakeholders, right? Especially right now during COVID, a lot of companies are rethinking the technology roadmap, right? Accelerating their digital transformation faster and much more effective and efficient, right? And that's where the customer success unit comes in. So our team enables that role through programs and initiatives. And it's challenging because you're trying to drive changes for our stakeholders across Asia, right? So you have people from all the way from India to New Zealand, people from different working cultures, and the way how business are done in different countries are different. So there's no one size fit all solution. And in Microsoft, I have to be able to manage that kind of change in a very timely manner so that everyone's on the same track.
So let me check with you, Ashraf. You've spent some time here with us getting a technical education in our information systems program. How did that education help you in these roles?
All right. So the education that I received in information systems helped me to be future ready, if I could say, right? Helped me in the roles that I was playing. Like, for example, one of the modules I'm going to talk about later is project management, right? So maybe I can spend some time talking about the modules that I've gone through, which helped me in my career today.
Yeah, let's bring up the slide deck.
All right. So over here, you can see this is IS 2102, one of the modules that I did, right? So as a business analyst, for example, in my time in Accenture, you must have the ability to transform high-level business requirements into technical documents, right? That's a key task that I have to do. Transform business requirements, high-level business requirements into technical documentations.
So that the technology can solve a business problem.
You're right. You're right about that. So it sounds easy, but it's not, right? To gather the requirements, it's not an easy task to do, right? When you are meeting your stakeholders, because they may not know exactly what they want. And that's where, by going through these modules, through diagrams and through industry standard diagrams, you'll be able to, communicate the kind of changes that the customers want with the rest of the stakeholders. So it's very important. Even as I graduated, the first day at work, I was required to draw an activity diagram, like the one you see here. So right from the start, whatever I learned in school, I'm already doing it in my job.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. And then another one is IT project management. So imagine you'll have to, once you're working, you'll be a project manager someday. You'll be required to manage projects at a bigger scale. Right. What this means is you have to consider the risks, the roadblocks, the resources required to meet these deadlines, managing the scope so that you don't have scope creep. You have to manage multiple factors to ensure a successful delivery of your project. And this is not an easy task, as you have to work with multiple stakeholders. So through this module, I was able to have an insight on how it works outside in the industry through Gantt charts and other tools.
Okay.
And then last one is principles of technology entrepreneurship. So I put this picture on purpose. This is Professor Francis Yeo, one of the professors from the industry. So I did not have the luxury to join the NOC, the NUS Overseas College. But in computing, they offer some modules and entrepreneurship as well. And I really enjoyed Professor Yeo's lectures. One thing is because he likes to give out free books. So that's what keeps the students coming in. He will give out free books if you get his answers correct. But more than that, you'll be able to understand, because he's from the industry, so you'll be able to understand what do VC, venture capitalists, what do they look at, right? So for those of you joining in NUS IS soon or NUS Computing soon, the great thing is you can have a lot of ideas, but on top of that, you have the ability to build these applications and programs because you have the skills. So it's really good that you have the idea, you have the capability to build these applications and programs, and through these modules like the one with Professor Yo, you'll be able to use some of the strategies in order to have a successful like launch or minimum viable product.
So if you wanted to pursue a startup career or entrepreneurship, there's actually an option here for you to do that.
There's an option for you. And as a student, I think you have 4 years, right? Use that time to explore these ideas, whether it's a success or failure. I think it's a good time, especially when you have professors to guide you along the way. So I want to reinforce again about doing what you like, and through some of these slides, I want to talk about the things that I do in school and at work to reinforce this message of doing what you like, right? So one is connecting with others. As a student, I want to spend time meeting other people, connecting with them. So I was very fortunate to stay in Hall, Yusof Hall. And what's better is
this your Yusof Hall room?
I believe so. I got it in one of my pictures.
Okay.
So a bit messy, but that's students. I was fortunate to stay with my friend in computer science.
Okay.
So I'm from IS, he's from CS, his name is Andrew. We lived together in the same dormitory, in the same room.
Oh, nice.
So it was fun because I stayed up all night to code and he stayed up all night to code. It was really fun to have a roommate from computing as well. So I was very fortunate. Okay. So for those of you who are thinking of joining or staying in Hall, you really should. So I tried to start my own club. This is the NUS Gastronomic Society. You may not heard of it, is because it didn't went live. I tried it, but it failed. But it's okay. It's okay because the beauty of being a student is you can try and you can fail. So the concept of this club was, in general, we like to go to restaurants, but we only get to taste one dish. So let's all 10 of us go to a restaurant and buy 10 dishes, and all of us share each other. So we get to taste food.
Like a foodie club.
Foodie club, yeah.
Okay.
So doing what you like, and I like to eat. So we thought of this. Okay, so the reason why it failed is because the food is expensive, and we are students, so couldn't afford all the food. But again, it encourages me to try new things and not be afraid of failure.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the working world, it's also important to have a supportive team. So as you can see over here, these are my teammates in Microsoft. I have not seen all of them or majority of them in person because I onboarded during COVID. But as you develop or spend time in your career, you want to have this growth mindset. You want to be better at what you do. And my colleagues, they have like 10 to 20 years of experience in the working world. It's important to be in a team where they help you grow, right? So this is one of the factors that I think before I move on to a new role or a new team, right? It's important to be in the right environment and having manager who supports you as you grow, right? So these are the small little things that might not seem to be important, but they affect your day-to-day lifestyle when you want to improve and grow and try new things.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Nice.
So I was lucky to be in a team where they are very supportive. Trying something new. So in general, I'm a kind of an introvert person. So I like to meet people, but in small groups. Right? So this is the first batch of business analytics students. Right? So I don't really like to lead big groups, but I wanted to just try once, and I did once. So this is me with my juniors in business analytics, the first batch, taking a jump shot. I don't think I have done this after this shot. So it was really good because in NUS there's a lot of opportunities for you to try something new. Having fun. So as you work, right, one advice that my colleagues or my peers give to me is to have fun. Have lots of fun. So again, I'm an introvert person. I don't do this kind of things. I'll just try to do it. So this is one of the costume parties we have in Twitter. It was a Greek theme party. So Twitter, very fun place to be.
Tech companies tend to have a lot of fun activities.
Yeah, correct. So the thing is, as a graduate of IT, you have the option to do what you like because you have a lot of job opportunities coming to you.
Right.
So you can choose what you like. And for example, in Twitter, if you like to be in an environment where it's very fun, you do a lot of fun things like this. You can. So in this case, it was a Greek theme party. I was supposed to have abs, but I didn't. I wore a shirt with abs, so kind of looked good on me, but it worked out anyway. So remember to have fun when you work. Work-life balance is another thing. There's nothing wrong with working hard. Let's get that point straight. There's nothing wrong with working hard, but it will be a problem when it affects your mental health, your physical health, and the things around you, right? So you'll get to, as much as this work-life balance message is reinforced every time, sometimes you get distracted because you enjoy work so much, you like to work so much, but at a certain point, you need to know when to stop.
It's pretty common for students or potential students to wonder what the work-life balance is here at our school. How did you find work-life here?
Yeah, sure. So as a student, especially those modules, programming modules.
Right.
Okay, so for those incoming students, once you start a programming module, you cannot sleep until you finish the code or you can execute the code. If you see errors, you cannot sleep. I don't know how to explain that. So when I was in
You mean
USO,
you don't feel like sleeping?
you don't feel like sleeping. So there was one time, let me share with you, I forced myself to sleep. During my sleep, I was programming, I was coding, and I found the solution in my sleep. So I woke up and continued coding.
Wonderful.
So there's a mix of modules. Some modules force you, not say force you, but in a way your mind is active because you want to solve the problem. But in general, I believe the life as a student here is quite balanced. Also, it's up to you over here. You're independent. You can choose how you want it to be.
Right.
So far, the workload is quite manageable.
Sure. I mean, if you started or you tried to start a society, you were involved in orientation activities
Yes,
with the
correct.
analytics students.
Yep.
That means you had time to do other things besides just focus on class.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yep. Since I
Okay,
had time
that's
to try different things, it was pretty good life as a student. And last but not least, travel. So I did not have the financial capacity to travel as a student or go for exchange programs. But as a graduate from School of Computing, you have a lot of options. There will be a lot of job offers for you. So in my case, I like to travel and I choose companies that allow me to travel.
Right.
So in Accenture and in Twitter, they flew me to overseas countries. So it feels good. Like imagine you are in a premium economy seat in Singapore Airlines. You don't have to pay a single cent. I like that. So I think I keep telling myself to focus on what I like to do. And I keep reinforcing that even after I graduated. Unfortunately, now during COVID, we are unable to travel, but it's something I'm gonna focus on once COVID is over. So we've come to the end of at least my part of the sharing on doing what I like. I want to reinforce that message to everyone because once you start working, there will be things that you don't like to do, but you have to do as part of your job. So as much as possible, use the opportunity that you have as a student to focus. Just follow your interest. If you like something, try something. And it worked well for me. It worked well for Sarah, our alumni from CS as well. So
who was on early in the day.
Earlier in the day, she shared her time. She also focused on doing what she likes, her interest. So yep, that's the.
So maybe what we can do now. Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about your experience here. What we can do now is we can open up to some questions. If you have a question, please feel free to send it in the live chat. And while we're waiting for that, maybe I can ask you some common questions that we get from students. One of which is, well, you are a poly student. You came from a polytechnic. Which poly were you from?
I'm from Temasek Polytechnic.
Temasek Polytechnic, where you study business.
I study business, yes.
So very often we get questions from students asking about whether a diploma student from a polytechnic is at an advantage or a disadvantage when they come into NUS. And JC students also ask us the same question. Well, do diploma students or JC students have an advantage or do they have a disadvantage when they come into NUS? As a poly student, did you feel that you were at a disadvantage or an advantage when you came in?
Sure. So my take is, so since I came from a business diploma and this is a computing degree, in terms of knowledge, I did not have that advantage because I did not study computing, but it's fine. The advantage from a poly student perspective is, in the polytechnic, it's a tertiary education. So you'll be able to choose the modules that you like, some specializations, right? And they are preparing you for the workforce, right? So, and you have a lot of group projects, you know how to manage timelines, you know how to balance your life out because your timetable will be all over.
Sure.
Right? A little bit different from the JC education. So it helps me when I move on to the university life. Yeah.
Okay, oh, that's interesting. Let's check if we have any questions coming in. All right, what sort of student support can you get, or what sort of student support do you get in SOC?
Right. So for me,
Yeah.
the kind of support that I get um, is mainly from my peers. Social support from my peers, and more importantly, your seniors. So that's why I was talking about orientation camps. So you get to meet with your seniors, because usually when you come into school, NUS, you will take modules of people from the same batch, like year one students.
Sure.
So the opportunities for you to meet with seniors is not high in year one. So that's why you go through camps, and they give you this kind of emotional and support. Like for example, you get stressed up about this particular module or how to survive, because it's a very competitive environment, and this is the kind of support that I receive, at least from a student. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think we offer other types of support at our school as well. If you're a student here, there's always financial support at the NUS level, and then at the school level, at the School of Computing. And of course, as Ashraf said, there's always community support. One of the things we're very proud of at our school is how much we feel like a family. I've known you since 2012. We're still in touch. I follow his career. He participates in school activities as an alumni. And so you always have that big extended family, not just the people who are currently here, but the people who were here, your professors and so on. We're kind of like a big family here. And of course, the university also offers psychological and mental support. And we have a department here at our school called Student Life, which worries about you. And we have a student society called the Computing Club, which basically worries about you, potential students or current students, and making sure that you have a good experience.
Yep. Agreed to that. And even student support, even alumni, so I can reach out to you, when I want to make a career change or make some decisions in my career. I will reach out to my professors for advice. So it's not just a student. After you graduate as well, you can connect with fellow professors.
Great. Hope that answered that question. How much flexibility in terms of study-life balance is there at computing? Well, that's a good question for you.
So at the end of the day, it's really up to you. So as a student, you are given X amount of coursework. You need to finish perhaps this project, this test that's coming up. And I believe in the website it will show X amount of hours required, for this to complete this module. But at the end of the day, it's about how you want your life to be, right?
Yeah, I don't think we really dictate how and when you do your work.
Yep.
Right.
So it's really, you can spend 10 hours doing something or 1 hour doing something, as long as you achieve the objective. So students, we like to do these life hacks or study hacks. Try to do something in the shortest time possible.
Really?
So the more you get to know your seniors and the more hacks you get from them, it helps you, shorten the time studying and more time playing.
I gotta find out some of these hacks from you later. Oh yeah, so I don't think that the school, or at least on the campus level, not just the school, but across the whole campus, we treat you like adults. You have to meet your deadlines. That being said, taking a degree program is practically a full-time job. You're going to be in class a lot of the time. You're going to be working on assignments, readings, projects, and so on. But you always have time to explore some of the more interesting activities on campus, right? And we have hundreds of clubs and societies All right, and we're back. Sorry, we had a little bit of a technical problem there. We just resolved that. Being live and everything. So we were talking about whether there's a study-life balance here, and essentially, you're left to do things on your own, make your own decisions about how you want to arrange your time. And many of our students do engage in campus activities, and of course, you have time to engage in activities outside of campus. And some of our campus activities can really take up a lot of your time, especially if you go overseas or get involved in entrepreneurship. All right, let's see if we have another question. So if you were keen on setting up a startup, how could NUS Computing help you with this? Or maybe I can start first and then you can talk about your experience with Francis.
Sure.
Sure. So at the school, we do support entrepreneurship. We do encourage it. We have our own incubation facilities and funding here for our students. And that's a small amount of funding that you can get to kickstart your entrepreneurship or your entrepreneurial ideas. Besides that funding and some of the resources, we do have mentors here who are entrepreneurs or who were part of venture capital companies, who are here to give guidance and teach courses on entrepreneurship for computing. Then outside of the school level, NUS also has a lot of support for students who want to engage in entrepreneurship. And again, that comes in various types of resources, including funding, but also other types of services, advice, and mentorship. Right, so Ashraf, I think, did a module under Francis.
Yep.
Professor Francis Yeo is a professor with us. He used to work in the industry, and he's responsible for our internal FURNACE, right, our incubation center. So will you tell us a little bit about what you learned with Francis?
Yeah, so for me, it's not that I was not keen to do a startup, it's just that I'm curious, right? It's okay to be curious as a student. So in computing, some of the entrepreneurship modules, they make you learn how to think, right? I know thinking is such a very common thing to do, but there's a framework on how to brainstorm. For example, if you want to sell a service or a product, do you just copy a competitor?
Right.
Or do you do this or do you do that?
So it's the best way to design
Yeah.
Your product or your idea.
Correct.
And I think we must have also done things like how to evaluate your users or your market.
Yep.
In part of that process.
Yep, correct, agreed. So it was a very good time for me because even today, some of the things that I learned, I do remember it and use it from day to day sometimes. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, I think we have another question. Let's take a look at that. What are some of the clubs and societies that are available in NUS? And in your opinion, which clubs and activities are the most popular?
Yeah, so we have the NUS Computing Club. So when you come in, that's the first club you should join, NUS Computing Club. But there's also the NUS Student Union. So you get to involve. Yep, you get to be involved in activities at the university level. So you get to work together with peers from other faculties. Maybe Anand can share some. I think there are some computing related clubs as well.
Yeah, we do have some computing related clubs here in our school besides the NUS Computing Group, which is generally, the computing club is generally all NUS computing students belong to that club. But we also have specialized clubs in our school, including a fintech society. We have a game developers group. We have NUS hackers. We have the Grey Hats. And so there are several smaller clubs within computing that focus on specific areas in computing, whether it's security or fintech or biz IT or game design and development. And you can pursue those activities. And of course, outside of computing, I believe the last count was NUS at something like 1,200 clubs and societies. There's a lot of different activities out there. But this question is specifically asking about sports. We have the traditional sports here. And of course, I have seen some weirder sports as well. I know at one point of time we had bubble soccer teams. And that was very strange. That was the first time I had seen people in a big ball rolling around. I've seen the dragon boat team training. There's all sorts of different activities here.
Yeah.
It's nothing that you won't find available here.
If I would want to chime in, so for me as a student, what I liked the most was back then it was NUS Hackers. Every Friday they have someone from the industry to come in to give a speech or a talk. And they have free pizzas. They have free pizzas every Friday, so that keeps me going. So at least, you know, that was the most popular, at least around my time.
Great. So if you want to get a better answer to this question, well, hit us up on Discord, and we have some of our current students there answering questions. They'll be able to tell you more about some of the sports societies and clubs that they're involved in. So I don't know which computer science focus area interests me at the moment. What are some tips for students who do not know what they want to specialize in?
All
What
right.
do you think as an alumni?
So as an alumni, if I can be very frank with you, I did not graduate with a specialization. I took the modules that I like and I graduated without any specialization. And it's okay to graduate without any specialization. So it's fair to, you know, as a student, you do not know what you like. So you can read you can ask your seniors about these modules, and you can go through internships. Various types of internships. For example, in IS, there's fintech. So perhaps join a fintech firm as an intern and see whether you like that culture. You know, maybe you want to specialize in that module. In my case, I just took the modules that I like, which is fine for me anyway. So yeah, perhaps through internships, after you spend some time in working as an intern, you kind of discover what you like and perhaps, you know, focus on that.
The interesting thing about being in computing is that computing really is in every aspect of your life. When I was, your age, I also had started down the path of computer science, and very quickly, you know, after 2 or 3 years in this of pursuing computer science and a technical education, I realized that if I, to quote what you said, do what you like, if I pursued what I really was interested in, I started to make the shift towards information systems, because I realized it wasn't necessarily the technology that was interesting to me, but how the technology could be applied and how we could solve other people's problems with the technologies. And so that's when I decided, I don't want to really focus on computer science. I want to look at information systems and use that technical knowledge to apply it outside of the technology space. Right? So I think if you explore and if you really pursue what Ashraf recommended, which was to do what you like, you'll find that within your 4 years here, you'll figure out what you want to do. And our degree programs are arranged in such a way that, when you graduate with a degree, even if you don't have a specialization, that's perfectly okay. You don't really have to come in knowing what you want to do, and you don't have to finish with a specialization. You need to know what degree program you want to enroll in, and from there you have time to discover. So I hope that helps. Helps you with that, and of course you can get more opinions or more advice from our current students and our faculty members who are online right now at Discord. Right. May I know, when do we have to choose your focus area for computer science during your time at NUS Computing? So there are a few decisions that are critical that you need to make. The first one is, which degree program do you want to pursue, and that needs to happen at the time of when you apply for your admissions to NUS. So we offer 5 different programs at the School of Computing, and you need to figure out which of these programs you want to be in. Now, once you're involved, or once you get admitted into a program, let's say you get admitted into information systems, or you get admitted into analytics or computer science, then you have time to basically meet the requirements for any specialization within that degree program. So if you're in information systems and you're interested in doing a specialization in innovation, you have to meet the requirements, and those requirements are usually spelled out in terms of what courses you need to do. And so you have to do some core courses and you have optional courses. And so you take some of those courses to meet the requirements for that specialization. As long as you finish those requirements, by the time you graduate, you'll get that specialization. Programmers love to say, I turned coffee into code. Is that true for you?
Yeah, I spend too much too much time drinking coffee, and especially during late nights, keep myself awake, and it worked for me. I'm pretty sure it worked for most of our seniors and for you as well in the future.
Yeah. I think when you're young, it's possible to do that. As you age, it's a little bit less coffee, a little bit less late nights. Yeah. But yeah, we generally turn coffee into code. So what's student life like as a computing student? Is it very competitive?
So it was interesting for me because I come in with a poly background,
Right.
and generally most of the students in computing are from JC, in majority
Right.
of them. So in my orientation group, it was generally JC students, and at the start, it felt a bit competitive because everyone was talking about getting A's or distinction, and call it A star.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So it at the start it felt very competitive because that's all people are thinking about, right? But as you spend your time from year 1 to year 4, you start to figure out, again, if I may repeat myself, doing what you like, and then you just focus on your own personal growth, because there's no use competing against your peers, and yourself not improving, because every one of us have different goals and dreams, and every one of us want to do something different. So we shouldn't be competing against our peers and just competing against our personal growth, getting better each time. So in general, yes, it felt competitive at the start, but I start to realize that it's about my growth, and I just focus about myself.
Great. Yeah, I think that's really good advice. So we have a question here. As a business analyst, what are some of the common issues faced by companies, and how did your time at computing help in coming up with solutions provided to these firms?
Right. So one of the common issue, or the is the portion I was talking about earlier, is about the gathering the business requirement, right? We need to, so traditionally, customers have high level goals on what they want to achieve when they want to implement a system. So what the education that was provided in NUS Computing allows me to translate these requirements into diagrams, right? To detail it down, because the devil is in the details. So especially during that module, you will be able to learn, which diagrams are suitable for which kind of brainstorming activity, and that.
So you kind of break down the requirements in a visual form using a framework that we had taught you here.
Yes, correct. Because a lot of things, at least at the start, when you discuss with your with the companies or your customers, it's
Right.
all very big, very high level. So you need to break it down to different pieces
And details.
And the education here provided me that kind of advantage where I already have this knowledge to transform these requirements into details.
And so those details then become or are expressed technically?
Yes, correct. So you have business requirements, and then it will have to be transformed into technical requirements. And yeah, it's a skill to do that. It's difficult, but with the education here, the kind of knowledge you learn helps you to do that better.
I see. Did you know what you wanted to do career-wise by the time you were going to graduate?
Great question. So I did not know what I want to do.
I can attest to that. He did not know what he wanted to do.
And so I was friends with Prof. Anand since 2012. When I came into school, I already knew him through one of the modules, and he was with me throughout my journey from year 1 to year 4 until today. And yes, thanks. Yeah, I really did not know what I wanted to do until my internship with Accenture. So it's the first company that I joined in my professional career. So I did an internship with them. And when I was an intern with Accenture, it was just 2 months.
Right.
But at that point of time, I knew it. This is what I wanted to do. And after I graduated, I converted to a full-time employee from an intern.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have time for one more question. So let's take a look and see if we have one more lined up. So as a poly graduate, do you think you had several advantages over JC students?
Yeah, so we talked about it much earlier. The advantage you have is we do a lot of projects in poly, and there are some project work component also in the university. So you'll be, you know what's expected of you in terms of managing your timeline, managing the deliverables for your project. And again, in poly, it's like a tertiary education. You choose the modules, you plan out a timetable.
Right.
So it gives you this kind of advantage where you know what's expected of you, and what you need to do to get there. So I think that's the kind of advantage you have as a poly student. And again, in poly, it's a very sociable place. People roam around, ask around. It's similar over here. So yep, it was good for me at the start.
Okay, well, we're out of time, so I want to thank Ashraf for joining us today, for taking time to come out and talk to all of us. Thank you very much, Ashraf. And thank you everyone else for joining us. Now, don't forget, if you didn't get your question answered here, or if you want to find out more about what it's like to study here, the experience here, or what career prospects are available, reach out to us, right? Those are our social media details on the screen now. We're going to be live on Discord for today and on Telegram over the next few days. And you can always ask your questions there. We have students and staff members ready to answer them. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back in a few minutes with the Ask Me Anything session. We'll see you then.
Thank you.